This is the first process that we have to go through before the eventual laying and presentation of the appropriation bill before the National Assembly by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me commend the President of the Senate, the leadership of the Senate, and the entire national senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the passage of 2019 medium-term expenditure framework, as well as the amended version. Mr. President, the leadership of the Senate, distinguished colleague, this year's medium-term expenditure framework is a very unique one. And that is why I refer to the President of the Senate as Mr. First. As you all are aware, that this is the first time that the National Assembly will be passing the budget within a financial year, that is from January to December of every year. This year is no different, as that is the reason why we are starting the consideration of the medium-term expenditure framework in earnest, so as to ensure that the executive present and lay the budget before the National Assembly within the third quarter of the year, which is in September. This year's consideration, as we're all aware, there is a global crisis, which is the global pandemic that has taken over the entire length and breadth of the global economy. So, this year, we will be looking into the document from 5 major angles. Number one, we'll be looking at the benchmark for this year medium-term expenditure framework as proposed by the executive arm of the government. We will also be looking at the exchange rates as also been proposed by the federal government. We will also be considering the revenue target of 50 revenue-generating agencies of the government, which has been categorized into 3 major categories. Number one, those agencies that are fully funded from the federal budget, those that are partially funded from the federal budget, and those that are financially independent of the budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We will also be looking at other sources of revenue, which include revenue accruing from the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, the LNG, and all other agencies of the government that make contribution to the coffers of the government through payment of dividend from partially owned government agencies. All these and more are issues that we'll be considering in this year's medium-term expenditure framework 2021-2023. And to that extent, we have divided this session into 5 days, starting from today. Let me assure you that all revenue-generating agencies within the catchment of the federal executive that is to contribute to this year's revenue profile of the government will definitely be invited to make their own contribution. Already, the executive have submitted before the National Assembly the expected revenue from all the agencies of the government, which is currently before us. Tomorrow, the Minister of Finance and our team will be appearing before the Senate Committee on Finance and National Planning, and all other agencies have been split into Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, so that all agencies can be invited and their document properly scrutinized before the committee. Once more, on behalf of the Committee on Finance and National Planning, I want to thank all our invited guests, and let me tender our unreserved apology for starting a little bit behind schedule. There was a mix-up which was later resolved, and by tomorrow, everything will be okay concerning the appearance of the Senate President in today's occasion. But from tomorrow, all that will be well taken care of. So once more, I want to welcome you to this deliberation, and I say thank you and God bless you.
We hope that the attendance that we have seen here today will continue, and that everybody will attend promptly throughout the process of this activity.
Agencies that have contributed to the offer the consolidated revenue fund of the government for years 2021-2023 medium-term expenditure framework. Today on our timetable, we have the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the Galaxy Bank Group, the National Broadcasting Commission, the Industrial Training Fund, the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex, the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Nigerian Dispatch Council, all any agencies that have appeared in process today will not be attended to. So, all agencies that also appear today that is not here must appear tomorrow or Sunday. We are heads of agencies and the chief executive alone. And it will also be put on record. If you refuse to appear to defend these that we have of the executive, we will not hesitate to go ahead and ensure that that agency has zero budget this year. Is zero budget for this year. Is a must, because this document was put together by the executive, and we need all the head of agencies to come and defend what is before us. So any agency that failed to appear with its head or the chief executive should as well know that for this year, 2021-2023, there is no budget. So, as I said, FCA is there, the DSP. Already, there is the Nigerian Immigration Service. I think I will use the Nigerian Immigration Service to, we don't know why, but I know that you are a revenue generating organization of the government. And you quite agree with me, issuance of Nigerian passport is a revenue source for us. Issuance of Nigerian visas is a revenue source for us. Biometrics and all other form of registration is a revenue source for us. Expatriates coming into Nigeria and taking relevant documents to be able to work permit to work in Nigeria is a revenue source for us. We want to hear from you because as well we are aware that you are one of those agencies that are partly funded from the federal government budget, from the area of salaries, recorded expenditure, and even capital. So, we want to hear from you all these revenue sources that you have generated for the past year. Where have you gone to? What has been your contribution to the consolidated revenue fund of the government over the years and the prospect for the year 2021-2023 medium-term expenditure framework? So, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Thank you for inviting NIS to make this presentation of our revenue. The revenue we generated from 2021 to the revenue we generated from 2018 to 20, and then what are the projections of 21 to 2023. I would like to make a statement that Nigerian Immigration Service is an agency of government under the Ministry of Interior, and our duties that generate revenue is derived from the Act of the National Assembly. What are the duties that generate this revenue? Issuance of passport, issuance of visa, control and entry of persons in and out of Nigeria. These are the three main sources that brings revenue. And I'm glad to say that all this revenue are generated under a PPP partnership, which was signed before the coming of this administration. So it's an old PPP that has been signed between Ministry of Interior and technical partners. So the sharing formula of this PPP differs, and the formula differs greatly. But in general terms, this revenue is accrued in favor of the technical partners and government itself. How does it work? The technical partners invest their money 100% in the PPP. Government invests by putting labor and providing spaces. So we cannot say government doesn't invest. Government invested in its people and in its resources it has. With this investment together, we are able to give revenue to government. So it's very important to understand that the PPP system works in certain instances because government doesn't put money, but government gets money in the PPP system. And the revenue generated is in Naira and dollar. The Naira component are the services that are done in Nigeria. The dollar component are revenues accrued by our foreign missions abroad. The Naira component services the PPP. This is very important. The dollar component that is paid for visa and passport is paid directly to federal government consolidated revenue account. So, which means the system does not use the dollar paid for passport, for visa abroad, internally. It is the revenue that is generated internally for passport and other services that it is used to service the system. That's how the system works. I would like also to state that except for one PPP, which is resident permit, all the payments are paid through TSA. It means the money is paid to government and government pays to the technical partners. But for resident permit, which is contact versus Ministry of Interior, the agreement signed is that the money is shared even before it goes to TSA. So just to make this clear.
So sorry,
yes,
our question, you see, this is supposed to be an interactive session. There is no way we will allow to present from the podium because we want to ask, we speak, we want to ask questions.
It is shortfall, but the revenue is not lower than last year. Only the prediction is lower. It is not lower. Because if you look at what we generated last year, the actual is 16 billion. If you look at what we generated actually in 2018 is 14 billion. So there was increase in it, but less in projection. In 2020, we dreamed that we would generate 23 billion, 265 million, 981, 335.36. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we are only now, because the passport offices have been closed, especially within the period of the COVID-19, we just started opening the passport offices. So we have only generated, as at 30th of June 2020, we only generated in passport 5 billion 714 760,005. So we hope, since we are opening our passport offices, we hope if we can be able to cope up, at least get more revenue than last year, but without probably getting the target. We have ECOWAS and African Affairs. If I read it, it's a long list, but I'll continue reading it for you. ECOWAS and African Affairs, these are permits given to ECOWAS citizens. The revenue projection was 79 million because they pay very little amount for passport. Resident permit, 384,184. But in 2018, we almost doubled it. We were able to make 126 million, 136,960. The projection was, in 2019, the projection was 132 million, 445,908, but we were able to do less.
Sorry to ask you.
Yes.
All your revenues,
Does it come through a consultant or is it generated directly by the agency?
So this, how it works is depending on the PPP. Let me give you one example of the PPP. In passport, when a passport is paid by individual, the money goes to CBN treasury account. And in that account, we pay the technical partners, we pay the sub-treasurer, the percentage for government, we pay federal inland revenue for the tax.
Your revenue, is it collected on your behalf by a consultant or is directly generated by the immigration service?
It's directly generated because with no consultant collect the money and share.
So you don't have any consultant?
No, we don't have consultant.
All consultants are sold?
No consultant. The only person we have is the people who organize a website but not collect the revenue. The revenue goes to the sub-treasury account with TSA, except one revenue for contact, which is shared between banks. And then otherwise the rest goes directly to federal government treasury account, sub-treasury account.
So all the revenue X you are giving to us goes straight into the sub-head of the
sub-treasury account, except the one for resident permit.
Except
for resident permit, the contact.
Yes. Resident permit.
Yes.
Contact.
Yes.
Why? Where does that one go to?
It's because of the agreement they signed between Ministry of Interior and the company. You know, we are an implementing agency.
Where does that revenue go to? Is it straight to the government office or to contact?
No. The agreement signed between Ministry of Interior and Contact and Polaris Bank was that if somebody buys, a non-Nigerian buys resident permit, the money is shared between Contact, Interior, and revenue. So they transfer the money.
But what ratio is it shared?
Let me check for Contact.
Can you get us the ratio of sharing between Nigeria and Contact, and how much eventually gets to the consolidated revenue fund of the federal government?
So this is a permit given for people who are not Nigerian citizens, but also who are not citizens of ECOWAS.
Okay. How much the Contact collect from us?
The total cost, initially, the cost of the permit started was only 1,000. It started only with 1,000.
Yeah.
So at that 1,000, Contact collects 72%.
70%?
72%.
72?
Yes, percent.
So eventually,
government collects 20.
When somebody collects 1 permit, Contact will collect 729.
That's clear agreement signed between the ministry and at that time. And
720, so only 280 is paid to Nigeria.
Yes, that's what it is. But when that was when it was $1,000.
Okay, $1,000 there.
But less.
Now, how much is it now?
Later, the Ministry of Interior changed the price to $2,000.
To
$2,000,
yes,
and adjusted the payment model.
Okay.
To Contact 55%.
55.
Yes. Federal government of Nigeria 33%. Nigerian Immigration Service operative cost 7%.
Sorry, I'm coming from how to take it. Contact collects
55%.
55%.
Federal government 33%.
FP 3%.
Nigerian Immigration Service operation cost 7%.
Nigeria?
Immigration Service 7%.
Okay. Immigration 7%.
Ministry of Interior 5%.
Ministry of Interior
5%.
5%.
Yes.
So that's how they share the money shared.
And I can read the total cost of the money collected annually by Contact, if you want to hear.
Sir?
I can read how the revenue is shared for the whole period 2018, 2019, 2020. I can read it for you if you want to hear.
I'm coming, sir. You have informed us that prior to now it was 72%.
Yes.
Now it is 55, 33 to federal government, 7 to your agency, and 5 to Federal Ministry of Interior.
Yes.
Who signed this agreement?
Ministry of Interior.
When was this agreement signed?
I think 2007. Later they reviewed it in 2000 and just last year. It was 2019. They reviewed it.
It was signed last year.
No, reviewed to $2,000.
Reviewed.
Yes.
And you believe that we have an option of coming out of this?
Actually, I want to state clearly that we have taken the case to Ministry of Justice. The Attorney General is looking at it. I don't want to talk more than that. That it is being reviewed is unfair for the company to take such large amount of money and doing nothing very important for the government.
Doing nothing.
Nothing. Let me read the figures, Chairman, so that you can hear the figures.
Before you do that, Chairman, let me...
Yes.
Before you do that, was there at any time when immigration is involved in this contract agreement? Were you ever involved?
In which way?
The contract is supposed to be, you said it's between Ministry of Interior and...
We are, you see, distinguished Senator, this is usually the ministry sign policy issues, and we are implementing agency. We are the working arm of the executive. So,
but this contract affects you directly.
Oh, that is something even we can do ourselves.
So, and you are not involved at all in it?
We cannot say at all, but the truth of the matter is that it was signed on our behalf, and we have to implement. But the truth is that we can do it. I'm glad to state that this job can be done by immigration. It's not a rocket science. No, but distinguished Chair, this has been on for many years on this matter. This is a company that took Nigeria to court, to arbitration. So it's a huge issue. I don't want to discuss more about it because the Ministry of Justice, Mr. President, has taken this very seriously, and we are doing a meeting with the Ministry of Justice. So if you see the amount the company is taking, you will be worried.
Who is behind contact?
I can't say. Senate. There were distinguished. There were several investigations by the Senate, by the House. There are reports available by the Senate, available, full report available. So if you want me to, I can even get you some of the, but you can get in the National Assembly. Sharing formula is different, but I can.
What is the sharing formula for passports?
It is based not on percentage, but on fee. It started with the fee. When the price changes, also it changes. Yeah. I give you an example for passport fee. New Work Solution. No, Irish are paid according to price. Irish Smart Technology is a company that is responsible for networking and selling the booklet. That's the agreement signed between it and the Ministry of Interior. So what the system does, it buys the booklets from them. So there is first agreement for payment of booklets.
Exactly.
So let me read.
Whatever way you want to put it, it must still come by way of percentage.
No.
No, I promise that. At the end of the year, you can turn it to percentage. You have a question? Okay. Then you are here.
Look at it critically. Invite the Minister of Interior, invite these consultants. Let us look at it critically. We can triple what revenue they are projecting here if all loopholes are blocked. That's my submission, sir.
When the project took off. And the project involves federal government, immigration, and the company. Yes, Ministry of Interior through the immigration. So it started at $350 per person. Mm-hmm. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Then it jumps to $700 per person. Am I right? Mm-hmm. That is an increase of 50% within a short period. And from $700, it jumps to $1,000. Mm-hmm. That is another 30% increase. Then from the $1,000, it jumped automatically to $2,000. That is another 100% increase per person. And there is no fixed rate in Naira. And those people that are being given the residence permits and their money in Naira. Most of the companies we pay because there is a ban of paying those people in dollar. So meaning they earn their money in Naira. And they pay their SAPAC is being paid in dollar without any fixed rate to the Naira. The meaning is that if a dollar, if dollar today, that is official rate is about 380 Naira. And if one needs to renew his or her SAPA residence permit, you have to now do 380 Naira times 2,000, which is a huge money. And yes, the payment goes to there is a ratio for the sharing formula. But I want to believe this company are determining, they are the ones determining the rate of this payment. I want to believe the government of Nigeria is not part of it, because the government has always been soliciting that and emphasizing that we should have we should encourage investment and not to discourage investment. From what I've just said, with this short span, you are jumping from 350 to 2,000. Certainly, I want to believe the government of Nigeria is not part of determining these changes in the rate. Maybe the company is solely responsible for that, and then selling the idea to the ministry, and then the ministry accepting it. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I think this is really not good for the revenue generation of this country. If we are looking at boosting economy and promoting business investment in this country, this is really not good. And Mr. Chairman, I would urge that this committee should really look into that, because there is no way you start something at 350 within a short period. You are not jumping to 2,000. And one jump alone from $1,000 to $2,000. I mean, without any explanation, just like that. You see that a lot of all these expatriates going back, even with this, because I cannot earn my payment in Naira. And then I will not go and pay for residence permit for 1 year, because residence permit is for 1 year. You renew it every year. Then as the dollar, we are having devaluation in dollar, I will still be compared to pay my residence permit in dollar. It doesn't work like that.
If President has to do the because UK habituated fund, where we are forced to pay 8 billion naira, and then why should we defend this fund? As far as we are concerned, this government has no value for Nigeria. And I have to say it. I'm not committed to the company, I'm not interested in the company, what they do. As far as we are concerned, that job we can do. It's a job we can do. $2,000 for resident permit. If that $2,000, you can make the resident permit with $500. $1,500 can go to the federal government to throw away the company. Government will make more money. So we cannot say we are blocking the company. We are not blocking the company. We are operators. We know what is wrong with the system, and we kept saying we have written. I have written almost a book on content. Distinguished Senator. The issue Distinguished Senator raised is a valid issue. Priorities keep increasing for resident permit without added value. We wrote, I have written. If you increase the cost of resident permit from 750 to 1,000 to 2,000, it is not the fault of the current Minister of Interior. It's not the fault of this administration. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot increase price to $2,000 and change the formula, and when you cumulate the change, you find that the revenue they are still getting more. They're getting more than before, because 1,072% of 1,000 compared with 2,000 is higher. I have the rest details here, I can read it for you. So please, we wrote, and I have the paper, and the case has gone to the EFCC. We have written that we are against content, and I said it here. But the Minister of Justice is doing something about it. There is no justification. Increase price to $2,000 because you have not added value to the system. There is no added value. What we did in increase in passport, we added value in passport. We increased the pages of the passport. We increased the security of the passport. We made it 10 years, the passport. So we added value, but contact did not add value to resident permit to make it 2,000. Secondly,
sorry, the contract is how many years?
The contract is made not to end because it's we raise this issue. Yes, that's what it means, because it says 900. Excuse me. It says 900. Excuse me. It says the contract says the contract should end after production of 900 resident permit.
So we have not progressed to now.
We cannot reach. It will tie us to 6 years again. I'm sorry to say, yes, I have the figures. So they are happy to keep us like that so they can make money. We also wrote that in addition that they didn't add value, they will increase immigration crime. If migrant, allow me to distinguish that. If migrant are forced to pay
$2,000, they will begin to create crime. We wrote when the increase was made. We are not consulted, but we wrote the implication of the increase to $2,000. I wrote. And let me tell you, the evidence has emerged. A lot of fake marriages, we have been deported expatriates from fake marriage. Because if you marry a Nigerian, you don't pay. Marriage. Yes, if you marry a Nigerian, you don't pay the $2,000. So there is arranged marriage going on. We have been deporting foreigners for fake marriage.
If you marry a Nigerian,
yes, you don't pay.
You don't pay $2,000.
Yes, you are a spouse of Nigerian. You know.
So they are doing a lot of arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage, and we have been deporting for people arranged marriage. So what we are saying, the increase does not have value. What she said is against investment. You are not encouraging investment for it. So please, we are not in support of contact, and I'm ready for any investigation on content. We are ready to work with the National Assembly. We have been working, but the problem is that the result should come out. Thank you. But let me read. Can I read? If you look at SEPAC in 2018, actual revenue performance on resident permit was 20 billion. In 2018, the actual performance was 20 billion 358 233 naira. What did the contact collect that period? They collected 15 billion.
Out of the 20 billion.
Yes. Yes.
Why are you reading?
I'm reading from the 2018. Just look at that page and look at the actual performance.
Actual,
yes. For under SEPAC. Did you see SEPAC?
Yes.
You see the actual is 20 billion. Did you see that? Go down and see what we paid to technical partners. Go down and say contact SEPAC 2018 actual 15 billion. In 2019, what happened? Actual money revenue performance was 40 billion. If you go down, how much do you pay contact? 23 billion. So why should this happen?
Now,
but let me answer your question for what do we get for revenue?
Yes. Give me about June 2020.
Yes. It is there in that page.
Yeah.
Look at that page.
You need 492 million.
Look look at that page down. Payment to technical partners. Yes.
2020.
Yes, it's there. In NIS, you will see NIS.
Yes. 492 million.
No, for actual this year, yes. is 1,433. Did you see it under NIS?
For this one I'm looking at. Is this not a document?
No. I've given you the summary. He has the summary.
Is this your document?
It's our document.
So
you are looking for projection.
No, this is not projection. You wrote it as actual revenue.
For which year?
For 2020, as of June 2020.
Yeah, this is what I have to say.
It's here.
Yes.
No, what you have here is this. Actual revenue as of June 2020.
Yeah.
We are in a challenging time. The global pandemic is real, and the country is going through a lot. The economy of many countries are going to recession, and any sources that we can save money to implement our budget, we will go all out to ensure. And you, as one of the agencies of the government that generates revenue, and we are still fully funded by the federal government, and some of these revenues retained by you, I am seeking or asking from you that we need the act of place if we return you to one of those agencies that are partly funded by the federal government. That is, we retain the salary structure paid by the budget, from the budget, the capital expenditure from the budget, while the recurrent aspect which will be taken out from, so that you use the revenue accruing to you from all these sources of revenue for your recurrent expenditure going forward. Because this is the sixth, as at June 2020, you have generated 1.4 billion. What did you do for in 2018, in 2019, as at 2020? And that will guide our line of decision at the end of the day concerning revenue accruing to you from other sources. Yes. If all this revenue, nothing has come to you, everything goes to the consolidated revenue fund, there will not have been any issue. But since you take part of this as your own recurrent expenditure, which you will tag it to be,
There is a lot of questions asking for answers.
We are doing
and we will not take anything from the sponsors given to you by somebody.
No.
Go get all the details about what this is the revenue accruing to us. In 2019, for instance, what has moved to the is well above 6 billion from these other sources of revenue. And the total expenditure approved by the national budget is about 3.something billion. You got about 6 billion from 2019. You spend that money without any report back to the National Assembly. So we are asking that if much, to whom much is given, what is expected? If we are doing that, then let us take our own recorded expenditure, which is given to Nigerian immigration.
Will you allow me to say something? You know you are a democratic leader. You believe in democracy. You believe in democracy.
And the CG immigration to appear alongside the other Minister of Finance and everybody, because this is a very germane issue. She had to hear, to listen to you, and said, if immigration is given no, you are not distracted. You should stay because I'm coming. FCA. Yeah, Anna, I want you to brief us in 5 minutes why we should continue to fund you from the federal government budget. And what are your contributions to the consolidated revenue fund account of the federal government within the past year? FCA, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Yeah, FCA.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I want you to tell us why we should continue to fund you from the federal government budget. The proposed revenue for year 2021, what you have generated in the past, and how much of this revenue will you spend as an agency? We want to hear from you. And where are you talking about? Are you giving us some? Yes, sir. You are talking about where is it? Can you give us anything? Yeah, go ahead with your presentation.
Yes, the same German distinguished senators.
Introduction, madam.
Yes, my name is Agisa Sani. I'm the Director of Finance, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority.
Colleague, as I said earlier, the SCA FD was in my office this morning to make a special plea to me that we should be allowed to join the PTR chairman and the Minister for Aviation for this school development of the International Flight Commission. So I allowed us to stay to brief us, but also inform people who return to the island. Madam, you have the
Yes, sir. Permit me to stand on the same protocol, sir. Yes, sir. For 2018, NCA generated 18.339 billion.
Yeah.
For 2019, we generated 18.677 billion. And for 2020, January to July, we have generated 8.634 billion.
For 8.634
billion for January 2020.
How do you fund your expenditure?
Okay, our sources of revenue.
How do you fund your expenditure? Is it from the federal government budget or from this revenue?
From this revenue we generate. We're not funded from the federal government at all.
You are not taking anything from the federal government?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. Yes, how much do you contribute to the government coffers in 2018, in 2019, and in 2020?
In 2018, we contributed 1.6 billion. In 2019, we contributed 3 billion. In 2020, from January to July, we've contributed 700 billion. 700 million.
700 million?
Yes, sir.
To date?
Yes, sir.
But can't you do better?
Well, with the present situation, that is just what is causing our concern.
The staff salary is paid from where?
From the IGR, sir.
What does staff pay?
1,400.
What's your wage bill?
555.60.
560
million.
For the 1,400 staff?
Yes, sir.
560 million?
Yes, sir.
So what do you now do with the 16 billion according to you?
So
because you said you generated 18 billion in 2019.
Yes, sir.
And your wage bill is 555.
Yes, sir.
And if you put that into calculation, that means about 6 billion naira.
Yes, sir.
is your wage bill in the financial year.
Yes, sir.
Leaving you with about 13 billion.
Yes, sir.
And you only contributed 1.6 billion to the consolidated revenue fund.
Yes, sir.
So you are left with about 11.5 billion.
Yes, sir.
As the current expenditure account.
Yes, sir.
What are those things that you have engaged in, that you have expended this 11 point something billion on in the financial year?
Okay, sir.
You have to go ahead.
Thank you. I need my documents.
You need your
The document.
Okay.
Yes.
This is expenditure.
So this figure is for 2018 that you're quoting.
No, you're giving us figure for 2019. You're giving us figure for 2018, 2019, 2020. And how much you have contributed in government of you told us how much you generated, how much you have contributed. I'm only using 2019, which is a full financial year. And 2020 is an half year report you are giving us.
Yes.
So guide us about your activities for 2019. Why have you not contributed more to the government of more than 3 billion you have contributed in 2019?
Okay. The NCA is a regulatory agency. It regulates the activities of the aviation industry. And for it to be able to do that, it is important that it oversees the activities of the airlines. And part of that activity is the inspection of the aircrafts, ensuring that the pilots, the engineers are actually doing the activities they're supposed to do to make the industry safe and secure. So major activity of NCA is training of its staff to ensure that they are able and have the capacity to check it's safe for the public. So we spend most of this money on training, and part of this training is international, because our staff have to get recurrency training to make sure that they are able to check the activities of the airlines. So basically, the mainstay of NCA is training, and a lot of this training is foreign as well. So that is the major. We hardly do any of this capital development. Yes.
And where are you opinion? If you generate 18.6 billion in a year.
From your own explanation, is that the 11 billion is expended on recurrent expenditure. There is nothing capital about it, because it's basically training of your staff for efficiency, which is
very key too.
Please, can you Haja, are we together? It's okay. So I, in support of what the chairman have said, I think you need to also go back and bring a written form. The expenditure, this recurrent expenditure that you talked about, that you expend about 11 billion, because from the deduction he has made, what is left for this training is about 11 billion. We're talking about 2019. Now, if we expend, you contribute 1.something billion and expend about 11 billion on recurrent expenditure, which of course is basically consumption. Where we are today, with a budget deficit of about over 5 trillion, I think that we must optimize every revenue that we need to have. So what he's saying is that unless you justifiably make a good presentation, moving forward, we need to reduce your expenditure so that we can enhance the revenue in order to finance the deficit that we have. I hope it's okay.
Sundry charges are okay. I think you need to.
Is it what you charge other people or what other people charge you?
No, this is what we charge other people.
So it is income.
Yes, it's income.
So in this document, have you shown your expenditure?
On page 1B. What the report is showing is cumulated. So the money just keeps dropping as the passengers fly and they pay in, and it's included in CBN. The expenditure is for the aviation industry. It's not spent, it's controlled by the ministry. It's not controlled by NCA.
No, let's get this thing clear.
All right, sir.
This is another source of revenue.
Yes, it is.
And you have established before this committee that this revenue for the last almost 8 years
Yes.
has been the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yes.
Even though it is in your own custody.
Yes.
And you are the custodian of that committee, the Central Bank.
Yes.
And this committee has viewed as an agency carry out any expenditure from that fund, said no.
Well, okay, let me put it this way.
No, madam.
We don't authorize spending on the funds. It is authorized by the ministry. It is under the spending of the ministry. Whatever, it's all agencies.
The ministry cannot.
Hold on, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. The ministry, the agencies, other agencies also submit their request, and it is approved globally for all of us.
Madam,
and then projects are approved from there.
Setting up NCA that revenue accruing to you from any source is spent by the ministry.
No, but
is it an internal arrangement between you and the ministry, or is an act or constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that supports that?
It is part of our approved budget for that to be spent. We don't spend outside that approval.
Madam, what
yes,
you
sir.
have told us here is very simple. You are adding two things together.
No.
When we ask you that question, you say the money is in the Central Bank.
Yes.
And we ask, is it part of the fund where you defray your expenditure from? You said no. You said the only person that spent that fund is the ministry. And it is spent by all agents, including FAN, NCA, everybody from the fund.
Yes.
And the question now goes, what authority has the minister got to approve expenditure on your behalf, with or without your understanding, from that particular account? Is it the Act setting up NCA? Is it the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? If the answer you are giving to us is no, one, you said it's part of your budget.
Yes.
And the different expenditure, that means you are spending the money.
Yes.
And that means your agency is approving the money to spend your budget from that account.
No, sir.
No.
Sir, I sincerely apologize. Maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. But the truth is, I would like some time to give you information because I don't want to.
You have some time?
Yes, I would like to appeal because I need to understand the question so that I don't mislead or give you a wrong answer. I would like to appeal. Yes. Yes, sir.
You said this money is kept in CBN in the name of your agency. There are statutes, Act of National Assembly. There's also Constitution in Nigeria of Nigeria, which is supreme. What the chairman is just asking is this. There's no way you can generate revenue in your agency, keep it in your account, domicile with CBN, and allow the minister to spend it to other agencies. Where does the minister derive that authority? That is what this committee is asking you. If you are not competent to give us answer, make consultation. Go to the Constitution. Go to the agency, the Act of National that created your agency that give authority to do that. And if not, what is the total money from 2012 to date in that account? Then this committee is also interested. There have been ministers and ministers of aviation. How did they spend the money? The analysis, we are interested. Otherwise, if there is need for us to amend the act of establishing agency, that money to go to consolidated fund account so that we can have money to fund our deficit budget.
Thank you, Senator Gobi.
The nation whose airline is operating into Nigeria and buying the SAR. Therefore, if you say that in generating it, then you're actually taking it out of context. SCA may act as the agency that is responsible at that particular time. And I want to say here that this is the only fund that only Mr. President approves the usage, the utilization of the fund before it can be put into any project. No minister can, on his own or her own, authorize the utilization of Basel funds. The President of the nation must approve, Fed must approve before it comes. And so it's in that view that also BASA has an act. And so the act of BASA stated clearly how BASA should be generated, what should be generated, and the utilization of BASA. It also says there that BASA should be used for aviation industry, not for NCAA, not for FAN, but for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, can you guide? I want you to guide us. Why you are serving as Honorable Minister? Under which agency do you have this BASA fund?
It was not under any agency.
It was under where?
It was under the ministry.
It's under the ministry.
Yes. And
but
when you go for BASA meetings, all agencies attend BASA meetings.
Okay.
Led by a director in the ministry.
Okay.
And all the heads of different agencies must attend BASA.
Okay. Now, excuse me.
So BASA is a bilateral agreement between two nations.
Yes, definitely.
And not between an agency and an agency.
Thank you. Senator Sankara, before I come back to... I'm coming, sir.
Yes, sir.
Madam,
yes, sir.
From the information we gathered,
yes, sir.
Which you believe we assist. You will not justify anything in this document.
No, but what I'm saying is, I have an explanation that I want to give, if perhaps it will suffice.
No, let her give it now.
Madam, we are not asking. We've asked you a question. If you have anything new, which you want to tell us, go ahead and say it. If you have anything new, apart from what you have told us since, you have the floor. Go ahead.
The cost of measures is one part of what I want to mention.
Madam, wait. Control measure is good, but we need money. What you are saying there, what we are saying in this document, we don't want to make anything categorically about that. But say what you want to say concerning cost control measure.
There's something very important. I want to also mention that NCAA is a member of the International Civil Organization. We fund this.
In one of your accounting here, out of 18 billion. Tell us what and what the money are used for. That's what I'm not saying you are not doing cost control. What are these funds used for?
You said training, so the simple thing is the details, are they here?
The DFA, NCA, you are to appear alongside with your managing director, NCA, and the Honorable Minister of Aviation for tomorrow. And our question is very simple about the Honorable Minister. You have given us your own document. While we are calling you tomorrow with your MD, I have to let you know. From the documents submitted to us, we observe that bulk of your expenditure are not clear to us in terms of what you use 11 billion for as recurrent expenditure in the financial year. And that was in 2018, 2019, even in 2020 that you have generated 6 months. What we are saying is what you return to the coffers of the government is too small. It's meager. And we are saying we want more. And to have more, that means we have to look into those expenditure which you are incurring, even if they are in line with various statutes of the National Assembly. We have to check. Especially the Fiscal Responsibility Act. We need to check and look at them. That is one. And that's why we are bringing you MD to tell the Senate why we should continue to allow you to take such huge amount of money as recurrent expenditure without necessarily putting a ceiling or a peg, and direct the Minister of Finance to take more from your revenue, having satisfied payment of your staff salaries and your recurrent expenditure for the year. That's one. Number two, we are bringing the minister on the issue of the safety fund and the BASA fund. From your presentation, we are aware that this fund resides with your agency and is with the federal government, it's with the Central Bank of Nigeria. And within the last 8 years, expenditure incurred from this fund are authorized by the minister, and it relates to all agencies under the aviation sector. And we want to know from the minister the purpose of this fund, what kind of expenditure do you incur this fund from, and why we should continue as a country allow such below-the-line account to exist, because these funds in your books are treated as below-the-line accounts. Why we should continue to allow a below-the-line account, and why the government have not mopped up this fund to fund the nation's budget. All these are what we are asking, and that is why we have to let you know why we are bringing you back, haven't appeared today. So on that note, we will be expecting you with your managing director and the Honorable Minister of Aviation to appear before the committee at exactly 11 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you. Who owns all these things that is hanging my this? Thank you. Yes, 50 revenue-generating agencies, which are categorized into three. One, those agencies that are fully funded by the federal government, those that are partly funded, and those that are independent of the federal budget. And the proceeding commences today. Many or some of the head of parastatals of the agencies are not here. And we are using this medium to repeat and to direct that any agencies that fail to show up before the Committee on Finance for this consideration will face the dire consequences of not appearing to defend its position concerning its responsibility as it affects the medium-term expenditure framework. And these agencies include the Nigerian Shippers Council. We expect the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council to appear before the Committee on Finance by tomorrow unfailingly at exactly 11 a.m. The Nigerian Maritime Administration Safety Agency of Nigeria, NIMASA, are to appear tomorrow at 11 a.m. before the Senate Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning. The Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, Universal Service Provision Fund, headed by a secretary. The Central Bank of Nigeria are to appear tomorrow at exactly 11 a.m., the governor of Central Bank. And we are saying this because a lot of issues ranging from the interest to the exchange rate upon which the budget is predicated upon need to be discussed extensively and agreed upon before and clarified before the budget can be laid. The Nigerian Port Authority, the managing director, also is to appear here at exactly 11 o'clock tomorrow. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, the MD is to appear tomorrow by 11 o'clock. The Federal Inland Revenue Service is to appear tomorrow by 11 o'clock. The Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON, the managing director is to appear at exactly by 11 o'clock. The Nigerian Natural Liquefied Gas, LLNG, the managing director is to appear tomorrow at exactly 11 o'clock. Nigerian Export Promotion Council, do we have them here? Is to appear tomorrow by 11 o'clock. The Oil and Gas Fixed Zone are to appear tomorrow by 11 o'clock. Industrial Training Fund, the MD is to appear tomorrow by 11 o'clock. Failure of which will be met with a very stiff penalty from this Senate. Thank you.